Hello, I'm Terry VanNoy, and I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope that you've been watching these videos in my series here about the multiplication facts. And what we're going to do is move on to 7 through 12. Now, we've been looking at skip counting in figuring out what the multiples of a number are. We looked at multiples lists, and we kind of focused on the numbers from 1 through 6. We also went to a flashcard site. And now we're going to move on to 7 through 12, the multiplication facts there, and do some flashcards and then finish with division. So, now this is going to be what's called a 12 by 12 grid. Okay, now we focused a little bit on 1 through 6, and that's these green numbers here. And we talked about how you can take any number, like the 25 right there, and you have to remember that that's a 5 times a 5. All right? Or a 36 comes from a 6 times a 6. Or a 10 comes from a 2 times a 5. Or a 5 times a 2. So the grid pattern just helps you line everything up. And the first thing we need to do is fill in the rest of these numbers. Alright, now we're going to do that by either thinking of skip counting or multiples. Alright, now I want you to see if you can say the numbers out loud before I write them. This row, of course, is not going to be very hard. It's going to be 7 times 1, 8 times 1, 9 times 1, 10 times 1, 11 times 1, and 12 times 1. Alright, next row is going to be multiples of 2. So see what we have so far. That could be done by skip counting. And again, it's not too hard, but you know the next number will be 7 times 2, 8 times 2, 9 times 2, 10 times 2, 11 times 2, and 12 times 2. Alright, now I'm going to fill the numbers in, but I want you to say them out loud, and then I want you to see if your numbers are right. So start at 1 times 3, and you should be able to go through that list and get the rest of the numbers correct. Multiples of 3 go from 18 to 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, and 36. Good job if you were able to get that. Multiples of 4. So we have 7 times 4, 8 times 4, 9 times 4, 10 times 4, 11 times 4, and 12 times 4. Now you might want to pause the video in between each because I want you to try to say the numbers before I show them to you. Here's the multiples of 5, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and 60. Remember to be thinking about the multiplication facts as you write them down. For example, 7 times 5, 8 times 5, 9 times 5, and so on. So get your voice and your memory connected with the actual number the way it looks on the paper. Alright, let's do multiples of 6. Alright, wow, these numbers are getting pretty big, aren't they? Then it goes from 36, which is 6 times 6, to now 7 times 6, 8 times 6, 9 times 6, 10 times 6, 11 times 6, and 12 times 6. All right, now multiples of 7, we're going to start here at 1 times 7, of course, and we're going to fill these in one row at a time. But I want you to pause the video, and I want you to try to call out loud what those numbers are going across before you see that I show them to you. Alright, pause the video and give it a try. Alright, how'd you do? Take a look at those numbers. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to multiples of 8. Pause the video and call them out loud. Alright, take a look. How did you do? Let's move on to multiples of 9. Very good. Let's do multiples of 10. That should be pretty easy. Now multiples of 11. And finally, multiples of 12. Wow, there we go. We finished there with 144. That's 12 times 12. Now, that takes a lot of work, and you won't have to fill this out again, but you really should have a copy of this on paper somewhere. So if you need to, grab a piece of paper and double check your numbers, and make sure you have a 12 by 12 grid written out. Also want to have you notice that the multiples go across in rows, but also down in columns. So look at some cute little patterns here. We've got multiples of 10 going down, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and so on. And we got multiples of 11, 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. See a nice pattern there? Yes. Now it all makes sense. Everything is related, going across in rows and going down in columns. Show you how you can use this 12 by 12 grid to learn your multiplication facts. Now this is going to take a lot of practice, and it does involve you saying this out loud. Don't just look at it and think that you know it and can remember it. Alright, here's the deal. You're going to just take a look at these numbers going across in pink and do those numbers first. Let's say you pick out that number 5 right there, okay? And you just kind of say it out loud and you go 5 times 4. Alright, now if the 4 is the second number, of course, then that means that this is the answer, okay? It's all part of the grid. So you start with 5 and you say out loud times 4, just pick it at random, and you do get 20. So you go 5 times 4 and you look away from the paper, and then you think of 20, and then you check your results on the grid. Alright? Or how about this? 9 times 3, 27. 10 times 7, 70. 4 times 8, 32. Alright? So that's how you do it. Now, you can do this on your own, or I'll just go over a few, about 15 or 20 with you real quickly. I'm going to call out the numbers, hesitate, and then I will color in the answer. Alright? But you want to try to call out the number out loud before I color it in for you. Alright, let me clean the board off and we'll start at the beginning. Here we go. 8 times 3, 24. 6 times 6, 36. 8 times 10, 80. 4 times 9, 36. 11 times 4, 44. 7 times 6, 42. 9 times 2, 18. 4 times 5, 20. 8 times 9, 72. 11 times 8, 88. 5 times 10, 50. 5 times 11, 55. 4 times 4, 16. 9 times 3, 27. 9 times 6, 54. Alright, I'm going to stop there, and the next video is going to be more practice, and again, I want you to have a written copy of this grid and practice it yourself. Then we'll go to some flashcards. Alright, thanks for watching this video.